But Goldstein, he's rated in the AFL rankings the #1 player.
Well, he's the best
competition at the moment, so he's carried a huge load. He's been getting clearances. Mark Pitnet had a bit of a down day last week in the ruck, but he's been an excellent recruit for the Blues. So they're into it, and we are as well. Pitnet, the first disposal was good, and a couple of experienced Blues combined well. Plowman on the outside, hits up McGovern on the lead. And matched by Ben Mackay. So the kick goes forward. And then Casbolt comes out in front of Walker, who's back in defence this week.
So that's good. Sorry, Jay. That's good sign. So what you don't want to see is when the ball gets driven inside the forward 50, your key position players.
Falls short. Gibbons has provided terrific energy, and he was given a bit of time, but couldn't get rid of it.
Give me a chance. So you don't want to see them competing against each other. So either one of the key forwards needs to be higher up the ground so they give themselves space.
And at the other end, of course, we'll be watching with Zurhaar back after just missing a week. And that man, Nick Larkey, coming in.
He's important, Hutto.
Yeah, his first game since round 1.
I reckon that's going to take some pressure off Ben Brown as well.
And also Luke Davies-Uniacke, which is a great sight for North Melbourne fans. He's had a severe injury problem with in the groin area since, well, he put in a good pre-season and then has really struggled.
Louis, really interesting. It looks like Jared Polak is going to Cripps at the moment. Is that... Well, I've seen him at the last 2 stoppages anyway. Whether that continues, is he trying to run off him? You can see him there again working on it.
Oh, I think so. What you want, I suppose, with Cripps is you push him inside for the stoppage, then hopefully Polak, once the ball transitions, is get him on the outside.
So Doherty takes the kick into the 50 for the Blues. Casbolt was one target, more the other.
I suspect it's the last person that Cripps probably expected to line up on.
Well, absolutely. I mean, so what you do from Cripps's point of view is, OK, you want to man me up? I've got you in size and strength. Come inside the stoppage for a little bit.
Well, they're on the move there, as you see. Goldstein couldn't escape Pitnet. Has he done enough to convince the umpire? Well, he was given the latitude that was necessary. Higgins got it out of there, but not for long. And Mark Murphy takes the mark. Averaging 18 disposals and just under 5 score involvements per game. So still playing a big role for the Blues. Tarrant under siege from Betts. The pressure immense. Walsh, who did it at both ends last week. Well done, Goldstein, but the handle went through the fingers of Demond, and Gibbons takes the little moment he was offered, puts it through.
Well, he had an opportunity early on where he changed his mind. Normally the first option's the best. This time it's just instinctive. He gets a great little tap down from Mitch McGovern, who I think surveyed the area around him and realised the only option he had was to drop the ball straight down. Good contest from Callum Moore. That's what he's coming to do. He brings the ball to ground. Gibbons is front and square. Doesn't quite get it there. But then this hand pass gets smothered as North Melbourne try to exit. And you'll see the ball pop up. Have a look at that little tap down from McGovern. A lot of class there and a good finish.
It's just good goal sense, isn't it? You just love seeing these smaller type of forwards. One, you'd love just the pressure they apply, but they just stay inside the contest and they just take little opportunities. And just that avenue towards goal just opened up for him. He's been an important player down forward. You know, he and Eddie Betts are combining really well, and then you add Jack Martin into that mix. Some good small forwards at the moment.
There's been an excellent pickup for the Blues out of the VFL. A long journey to get there, which we all saw last year. And he was more exclusively as a small forward, wasn't he, last year? But as the season went on, and certainly to this year, he's been able to get up the ground. And he's really thriving. So they have the first goal. Now North Melbourne go forward. So this is something we're going to really keep an eye on. Pollock versus Cripps. Simpson stood in front. Larkey came charging through, made a contest at least. Now Simpson goes to work under pressure from Scott. Again, the Blues able to find a way out. Tarrant playing in front. Led more to the ball. Setterfield, who laid 10 tackles last week in that support role with Kennedy with Cripps.
You'd like to see that kick from Polak just get a little bit deeper. You just, maybe he miskicked it or he just tried to honour the lead. What you don't want at the Gabba also is shallow turnovers, because it's just easy accessible to the other end of the ground.
You can see how close the 50-metre arcs are to the centre square, can't you? So if you can get those good long direct kicks, you can go from one end to the other very, very quickly.
So Setterfield bring it back into the middle. Petrevski-Seaton has had a good year. Plenty of intercepts off half-back. Was kept pretty quiet last week. Paid a bit of attention by Port Adelaide. Finds Murphy. So conditions okay, given how much rain there's been. Driving kick, Kennedy, who can take a mark up forward, and the North defensive coaches, or any North supporter, let's be honest, will not be happy with that.
We're just right off Dumont, I think it was, or Anderson's on the mark, but he just found a bit of space. It was a nice little kick by Murphy. Just kicked it into the space, hoping that a forward would get there, and this bloke Kennedy just read it better than anyone else.
So now Kennedy has had his issues at times with his kicking, but that is perfect and an excellent start for the Blues.
It's a great start for Carlton, but it was a curious kick from Murphy, Louis, because he just pulled it a little bit. And in the end, none of the tools actually got there to compete for the ball. As you say, it found a space rather than a pack of players. And Kennedy was the one that read it best off the boot.
Well, what defenders typically do is you reference yourself off the key position players from the opposition. So, you know, Pitnet there, McGovern. So they were a lot deeper. So all the North Melbourne players would go, OK, this has been slow ball movement. We're going to reference ourselves off these players. And even in the game last night, too many times Richmond kicked on the head of their key position players. So there's something in kicking it just a little bit shorter and allowing other players to come in and mark the ball like that.
That is a terrific explanation. And really, so what you're saying is the last player they expected to go for the mark is Matthew Kennedy.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you look at your key position players in that instance and go, these guys, this moment and this type of play is set for them. Let's try and use a different avenue.
And whether you've got that connection or whether it was more by luck than design, we don't quite know yet, Hutton.
Whether he meant it or not is another thing, but hey, great setup by the Blues.
Nicely.
They're claiming it. So back in the middle, and they really struggled, North Melbourne, to get going. Last week we saw against Richmond, and they're facing the same situation here. Unless they can start to get on top out of the middle, it's obviously first look for the Blues. Mackay under immediate pressure. Gibbons. Mackay did a good job on Lynch last week. Higgins slipped the tackle, got taken high. And they think about taking the advantage. Good to see Jed Anderson back in the team too.
Yeah, you're right, Hutto. He just provides that grunt, I suppose, with Cunnington out of the side. He's hard as a cat's head, Jed Anderson.
They just need to get their hands on the footy a bit, North. They haven't been able to touch it yet. 5 inside 50s to 1, double the possessions to Carlton.
So McMillan drives to half forward. Pittard. We saw him spend a fair bit of time forward last week. It looks like he's starting there again.
Nice professional tackle there by Doherty. He understood. He gave away the free kick. Just allows his teammates to get down there and saturate.
Pittard, the darting kick down towards Ben Brown. He's got Larkey with him. He obviously didn't mark it because he tried to play on. And the advantage is quickly taken. Summing it up nicely. Oh, he kept on running. It was bold. It was maybe a little foolish as it turned out. Just got caught up in the moment there, Walsh. Great attacking intent out of defence, but it's given North the opportunity.
Oh, that's an easy little lead-up. That's perfect. That's perfect. So you had Ben Brown just pushing off Petrevski-Seton because his opponent, Wiedering, was a bit deeper waiting for the long kick. But that's one of those where the player giving the hand pass and the player receiving the hand pass for Carlton both have to accept some of the responsibility.
I always thought the trust was in the player receiving because he can see downfield any pressure that's coming.
So Ben Brown, you've seen him for the first time. You would have thought he was running off the ground there after he took the mark. But we know he's been under pressure. Kicked North goals 3 last week. And only 2 goals 3 in his past 4 matches. This is big for the big fella. We wish him well as he kicks a goal and gets North up and running.
I just love the smile on his face after he kicked it. That's a man that knows he's under pressure and just needs a change of luck, needs something to go his way. So he gets a nice little easy push off the man, chip up lead, nice set shot, gets his confidence up and running, and now he can set his sights on having a big impact.
I mean, structurally they're a different side with Larkey in there, but you just wonder about the mindset of Ben Brown, not having to think that he's the only key forward that has to have an impact on today's game. He's got Larkey in there that can have an impact as well. And we saw the first contest they were when they went inside forward 50. They bumped into each other, so they need to work out, you know, who's leading and who's blocking and work your way around that. But certainly him to kick his first goal in the first quarter and get his confidence up would do wonders for this North Melbourne side.
Couldn't help but look at Jacob Wiedering's shoulders drop there too.
Well, there must have been some confusion with him and Petrevski-Seton to say, you take the front spot, I'll get a bit deeper.
That's the problem. Petrevski-Seton allowed him to get in front of him. He had to take the leading space away.
We're going to be having a few words to him.
So, Kellen Moore, aerodynamic as he's up and making his Carlton debut, feeding it back through Martin to Kennedy. Wide kick out to half forward, well judged.
Yeah, good mark. Bravery running back with the flight of the ball. McGovern coming the other way.
Millen's kick to Simpkin. Chips to centre half back. Pittard. Gave him a little bit to go on with there.
So that's what you wanted to do. So you get yourself in the corridor. You want to try and keep yourself in the corridor, not kick wide to this, because this becomes predictable and less dangerous.
The first 2 kicks were great to get them in a terrific position, and then they put themselves in very much a defensive spot.
He was able to find Anderson, so things improving a little. He takes it back to the wing. Touched apparently, so he's forced to bring his teammates into it. It settles back with McDonald, who had the tagging job on Dusty last week. Kicks to half forward to Simpkin, feeding it out to Anderson. Deep again. Pittard, big chance to mark. Whacked away, as you saw by Wiedering. And then Curnow with the clear. But it's coming back again. Anderson gives to McDonald. Centering ball this time. Goldstein's pushed forward. Despite the protest, that mark has been allowed, and it was Callum Moore.
And that's what happens when you get a second ruckman playing on one of the best ruckmen in the competition and giving away plenty of size as well.
So he's carried a big load so far this year. Now, he needs to pop this one through. Oh.
Did you see his run-up?
That was where he was running.
Exactly right. He ran basically away from the target.
Callum
and then gets a bit of lip.
Callum Moore thinks it's very funny.
Oh, why wouldn't she? He just got a great let off.
Yeah, I think you'd be a little bit, might be a little bit early to be giving it to Goldie, I think, in your first game at your new club. But anyway.
They're all in for a penny, in for a pound, these boys, Hutto. They lip first and then worry about what happens later.
Cripps kicks up to the wing. Pitnet with a quick give as they're away out. It was Cripps. It was all under duress. Setterfield, what a touch it was. And now Martin. Kennedy had got clear more centrally, but he found Nunes, and then I think he got a straight boot from Tarrant on the way through.
Yep.
It was okay.
Nothing untoward from Robbie Tarrant there. He's found a nice passage of space there, Nunes. I thought they were actually going to square it up to Kennedy again, who'd pushed forward into the corridor. But there's not much here. Great courage going for the footy. Eyes on the ball.
Yeah, it wasn't a boot, it was an arm.
And Tarrant was desperately trying to get there as well. And in the end, there's nothing he can do, but his momentum's going to take him into it. He actually did well not to kill him.
That's one way of looking at it. So Nunes to extend Carlton's lead. How quickly things can turn around. It could have been level a moment ago. Instead, Carlton's lead increases back to just under 2 goals.
So I'd love to get Todd Goldstein, show him that run up there from Jack Nunes and then show him his own run up.
You're right, it was exactly where he kicked the ball, and you can see Carlton's mindset. They want to try and play on from marks. They just want to get the ball moving, keep it in motion. And just the Paddy Cripps, just the strength to get it out of the contest and just keep the ball moving. Yeah, you get tackled there by Josh, but he just kept the ball moving, and they found themselves with some time and space forward of the ball. So I was a little bit like you. I thought he was going to come inside to Kennedy. It didn't look like he had an opponent, but I mean, he's a classy player, Jack Martin. Just picks the right option on most occasions.
Great kick by Setterfield there.
It was brilliant, but it was also amazing work from Cripps, who just got a hospital hand pass in amongst 3 players to somehow just get his boot to it, force it forward, and allow Setterfield to then create with a terrific little kick.
And that's what the new interpretation does. It gives players motivation to get rid of the ball and keep the ball moving.
Yeah, that's certainly been, I think, the biggest plus, the biggest outcome from the rule interpretation change.
So Carlton certainly fired up after the close loss last week, but also North have dominated them over the last 5 years. They've won the last 5 games in that time, and by some decent margins as well. Walsh leaves the kick out wide. Casbolt playing in front, as you saw. Walker did enough. Cunningham puts the pressure on, keeps it in the 50. Setterfield by hand this time. Cripps at the handball and the hope turned into something for Cunningham. It's only a behind.
I don't know if there's anything in it, but a lot of their attack has been the right-hand side of the ground. So whether that's been dominated by right footers getting involved in the play, but it seems everything's coming from that other side.
Atley takes it to the right-hand side for North, so they get a different avenue to attack. Hall, challenging kick for Larkin at his feet. Jones had it covered. Simpson underneath. The veteran in his 18th season, stretching the handball to Petrevski's seat, and hits the wing with Kennedy, and the Blues are in motion. They're a great team to watch at the moment. Attacking footy is their mode. Just got a bit slippery down low for Moore, and he's still finding his way.
I think Jack Martin was looking for a lead a little bit earlier there from Moore. Just that connection. Probably hasn't played too much together. You can train together, but just that connection when you need someone to lead up to you, probably just a little bit off there.
Pitnet versus Goldstein. Goldie got the hands to it. Setterfield trying to get it to his own advantage despite the pressure from Simpkin and Atlee. Kennedy. Oh, got through Anderson. He's got a free out of it for a trip. I think it was the out-of-zone umpire who paid it too.
He did get legged very late.
So Kennedy, it's the set-up kick. That time the Kangaroos were well positioned.
It's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those that you understand what they're doing, but no one's on the same wavelength. And in the end, it's just an easy intercept mark, uncontested.
Play on! Play on!
Anderson's fourth disposal. One of his best. Petruski's seat, and again the Blues well structured ahead of the ball. Back through the middle through Walsh. You have McGovern onto the right, but it's straight lines for the Blues down to Moore. Mackay did enough. No free kick. Martin didn't make the connection he was after.
We've just seen those last two exits out of defensive 50 for North Melbourne. Exactly what we saw last week. They get the ball, but they turn it over when going through the middle of the ground or half forward. They just have to get a presence across half forward from one of their big forwards.
And Ben Brown was wide, Lynchy, wasn't he? But they just obviously didn't see him, but he's just so far up the ground.
That is a gift, and Cunningham happily accepts it. Disaster for Jamie McMillan. These things happen in footy, but you can all afford it at the moment. The Kangaroos, as the Blues pounce and go to a 3-goal lead.
But I like that, Hutto. Kicks a goal and just gets on with it. Doesn't have to go over to the opponent and rub his nose in it. He knows he made a mistake and made him pay in the biggest way.
100%. I was about to say the same thing, Louis. Any other day, 10 players come over and get in McMillan's face, push him around, say, "You idiot, look what you've done." Go and just clap Cunningham on the back.
Celebrate
say, "Well
with
done, great
teammates.
finish. We're up and about." Be positive. Not a great hamper.
Missed his hand completely.
Yeah, technically I don't think it was a hand pass.
Yeah. Very rare that you see an airy with the hand under no pressure.
It was a sinking feeling, wasn't it, for Jamie McMillan, that's for sure. Got to get on with it now. 3 goals is the margin for Carlton already. David Cunningham gets an early goal. Give him a boost. 3 goals, 3 for the year coming in 6 games. Pitnet quickly onto it. And worked his way through there nicely. Like perfect handball. Playing it all the way back to Simpson. I don't think made the best connection on the kick, but it gets there in the end for Nunes. And now they can run again. Doherty had time to sum it up. I remember it is greasy. It doesn't look too greasy, but it's probably part of the problem the players are finding. McMillan kicks to the wing. Brown crashing the pack. I like that, North Melbourne coaches and fans.
Nunes in trouble.
Higgins got it moving forward, and Kangaroos were on the move and still are. Has Zerha back in the team. Larkey versus Jones. Sliding through, the ball gets away.
Been poleaxed a couple of times. Jack Nunes in the first term.
Well, you touched on it. This is outstanding from Ben Brown, under the pump in recent weeks, but that's what you want when you're running off half-back. You want a reliable contest across half-forward. So he didn't mark the ball, but he made a big presence and hurt the opposition.
Oh, Goldstein almost was able to seize that on the throw-in. Setterfield going in confidence. Walsh sends it out. Mackay well placed this time. Just got leapfrogged there by McGovern. Mackay to the top of the square. Wiedering leads with a fist. And Nunes clears the immediate danger. McDonald. Instructions were being issued. He's able to find Curtis Taylor into the pocket. And over and out she goes. Well done by Jones, who doesn't have Dixon to contend with this week.
No,
it was just a poor kick and really good by Brown and Larkey just to work together. So Brown said, "I'm going to duck around, then leave that leading space for you." Just a poor executed kick.
4.5 to go. Opening quarter from the Gabba. Carlton versus North Melbourne. Good tackle pressure from Zerha. Free kick though is going against him.
We saw bravery by Walsh last week with the mark against the play. He'd have some sort of bravery to stand in line with Zerha, knowing he's coming the other way. He can hit and hit hard.
Are you aware, Louis, out there of the guys that can hit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think everyone knows that Zerha can hit.
And you're aware of the blokes that don't mind getting a few weeks as well.
That's probably back from your day.
Yeah, a few generations ago.
I think equally the blokes that don't mind giving it out also know the blokes that don't like receiving bumps, and they're very good at tracking them down.
Petreski-Seton, good service for Curnow this time. It's a high ball. There's equal numbers. Going for it, Goldstein. Got it to ground. Scott. Pressure's still on. Hayden showed his courage last week. And now he puts the clamps on just when it was needed on Murphy. Scott versus Eddie Betts at either end of their careers. Bailey Scott scrounging hard, so too McMillan and Marnie. Advantage paid. Taylor will take that gleefully. There's Ben Brown right up the ground.
There's just no one to kick to. There's no one in North Melbourne's half.
He's got to kick this out of bounds nearly.
Well, he doesn't want to kick it. Didn't pull the trigger. Played it back, bought some time, and did it pretty well. Although Atlee's kick made it tough for Marnie, who got crunched by Doherty.
That's been part of the discussion. Why do sides ask so much of their forwards? Why do you get them so high up the ground? Because you get opportunities like North Melbourne had then. Then you can't go forward. There's no option to go forward. So why wouldn't you keep a forward deeper to be that option?
Jordan, fans have been asking that, and commentators, for 10 or 15 years. You're a mod just out of the game. I thought you'd know the answer to that. Pitnet kicks it forward. As you can see, it's up for grabs. North have the good resources back, and it was a bit tough for Casbolt. Mackay playing it wide for Walker.
I can tell you why, Hutto, because coaches want forwards to be part of their defensive structure. So what they typically ask is every forward needs to be in line with the ball to stop the switch, but also try and keep it in their forward half.
But you don't agree with that necessarily?
No. Well, you lose an opportunity to be threatening.
Scott kicks to half forward. That's where it ends. Pitnet.
It's proving a good pickup for the Blues, Mark Pitnet. Good contested mark there against
Simpson set up Plowman, and it could result in a goal. Zerha has time and space and had to hit the target. He had teammates around, but the shot was there to be taken.
Just thought he took it a bit early. He had space and time. He could have run closer, could have run further. Now that might
engage the Carlton defender.
Get Simpson drawn out, and then he gives the easy one over the top, or he just gets himself closer and makes it an easier shot.
You add that to the Goldstein miss, and
Carlton, hold on the man.
could be a different story that's being painted in this first quarter. Petreski-Seton to the wing. Kennedy up to meet it. Quick give to Setterfield. They're off in pursuit, but an attacking play again, and this time Casbolt got the jump on Mackay.
Good decision by Mark Murphy not to take the advantage. Understand that there was a mark, time just to settle down, have a little breather, and let Casbolt have a set shot.
I like the way they're moving the ball.
Handball receives, aren't they?
And they're getting it moving. They're going forward with positive intent, and they're hitting their targets. You get the right people kicking the footy, it makes such a big difference.
13 inside 50s for 5 scorers so far. It's about to be a 6th, you would think. Levi Casbolt, he's hit that pure. And the Blues get their 5th goal.
Yeah, they made their intentions clear quite early with the way that they wanted to move the ball, and a few handball receives early on in the game. It wasn't the right time for them, so the Carlton player receiving was shut down, but it looks like they've found the right balance at the moment. And it's making it hard for North Melbourne to get set from a defensive point of view because the ball is always in motion. You just can't get a good read on it. So that handball receive there, a lot of the time defenders think you might be going long because you're in that unfamiliar or that uneasy territory, and that's when those lead-up options open up.
One of the big issues for North Melbourne is they're on the back foot from the start. It's 11-2 the clearances, 5-1 the centre clearances. They're getting dominated at the stoppage, so all of a sudden you're having to defend rather than setting something up with a positive sort of.
And that's a strength of theirs.
Yeah,
one of the great strengths of North Melbourne this year has been their contested and stoppage work, and that
they're getting belted.
Isn't holding up at the moment.
It's been great, I think, in recent weeks, the way Carlton have changed their game plan. I think it was about 4 weeks ago when they were against St Kilda. They lost to St Kilda, and it was slow, it was around the wings, and just that short, uncontested mark style. Got to the wet against the Western Bulldogs, then surge footy down the middle of the ground, and that's continued here today.
Yeah, it's thoroughly entertaining. It's a breath of fresh air, you've got to say, with the way summer football is played. I guess from a neutral point of view, you hope they have success with that style of play so that it
encourages everyone else to do it.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
North, on the other hand, they'll be ruining those 2 misses, and they need to dig in hard here, get to quarter time.
And David Teague spoke briefly pre-game. He goes, we understand that other sides are going to get big scores against it, but we want to be an attractive brand of football as well.
Goldstein with a little dish. So Anderson takes the kick into the 50. Taylor made a move at the back. Pittard close to the line. They can set up around here and give themselves
just
a chance
one more
to score.
on that, Louis, is certainly, I think, Carlton, they were down by 3 goals early last week against Port Adelaide, but that's quick ball movement got them back in it. They kicked 3 unanswered goals going into quarter time, which really levelled the game up.
And when we saw them struggle was when Port was able to stop them moving the ball. Gibbons thumps it back to the wing. And Walker shows his marking prowess and his pushing prowess as well.
Yeah, we saw a few last night, Hutto, that were much worse than that from the hands and the back point of view, and they weren't paid. I thought it was quite a nice little subtle nudge forward. Maybe it was exaggerated by Casbolt that made it a bit obvious.
Make your own decision.
Yeah, he went a little bit easily, Levi Casbolt. I mean, there were 2 hands in the back, but that's not against the rules per se. It's holding his ground.
Cripps again. The clock is going to end. It's 4:04, you would think, and it gets to quarter time. And David Teague would have to be happy. The Blues are playing attractive footy, and they're playing the brand of game that has them in front by 23 points at quarter time. They're getting used to close ones, Carlton. They'd love to keep this trend going of a big win, but you know that the Kangaroos are going to dig in. They'll have to, as the second quarter is next.
Sort of following him around the centre bounce there.
Well, he loves the in and under stuff, doesn't he, Jed Anderson?
Well, they need something to change. They certainly blew a couple of opportunities in front of goal in the first quarter and then handed one off as a gift at the other end, but starting from a fair way back now. 23 points the margin, quarter number 2 from the Gabba. Conditions have cleared, but there was plenty of rain, as Lynchy told us both yesterday and this morning. Blues 3 and 4 coming into this game. Lots of tight finishes, and we can all see their improvement.
Oh, it's on. It's on between Cripps and also Anderson.
It's be interesting if they throw the ball up.
Yep. Mark Murphy might go for the ruck if we're not careful. It's back in play, as you saw, and Martin streaming forward. Summed it up pretty well. Moore, former Tiger, flipped the handball to Betts, who got shut down straight away. Now Pollock covering the ground. His handball got interrupted, and now McDonald, and the advantage. Well, that's a big call to call it back.
Eddie wanted to take the advantage, and Murphy thought, yeah, he did. Well, he did with the first.
Where does it stop?
Yeah.
I think that's...
I think you've got to give a second for players to react. So you might hear the whistle as you're in the motion, and sometimes it's hard to stop that.
But he disposed of the ball before the umpire blew the whistle.
At least I like the attitude of Murphy, who said, I better not snap this. Let's see if we can pull up and have this.
Yeah, you know why he did that, because
he was in trouble. He was in trouble.
So it goes back to McGovern. Doesn't capitalise on the opportunity, which was significant.
But what there is in this second quarter, there's feeling. So you see Jed Anderson goes to Cripps and just tries to ruffle his feathers a little bit. There's feeling all around the ground. There was a big contest at centre half forward once that ball was thrown up. So it's good from North Melbourne. They've come out, they've come out with the physical approach this quarter.
It almost cost them a goal, but I know what you mean. The kick goes up to the wing. It's well taken. Well captured by Wiedering. He's the man in excellent defensive form. That's going to be 50.
It's against Higgins. Higgins
see what
worried
he's trying
about
to
someone
do,
coming past, but he was still too close to the man with the ball.
The man is Kennedy.
Line up for number 2. He's actually had a really good start to the game. This will be possession number 8, and hopefully goal number 2 for him.
Collecting a few fist pumps along the way on the journey.
Yeah, I'd rather get those after I've kicked than beforehand.
Don't put the moz on him, Jason, please.
Well, we saw Goldstein miss one from here.
That was a ruckman though, Jason.
True.
So Kennedy for his second goal, and he drives it straight through. There's no issues there at all. Not a lot worrying Carlton right now.
No, they're quite efficient when they get the chance. That was a gift. I mean, you get a 50-metre penalty from outside. You could see what Higgins was trying to do. He was trying to get himself out of the area and see if there was any receivers coming through, and unfortunately just got penalised. So he's probably best just to take the mark there and get out of that area, and let Zuniac get out of that area also, but just was in two minds, and the umpires see those straight away, and they pay it. What a costly 50-metre penalty it was.
I love the way Jacob Wiedering has reinvigorated himself. In 2020, he looks the star that we thought he was going to be. Somehow drifted into purgatory there for a while, didn't he? And he had all sorts of problems. They mucked around, throwing him forward and back and forward and back. But now he's just playing like a terrific key defender.
Yeah, he's got really good craft. He just doesn't get beaten, but he certainly doesn't get outmarked. He's just got good manoeuvring. You know, we saw him Ben Brown there. Just manoeuvre he's under the ball, and he's a great reader of the ball flight.
And then able to square it straight back into the corridor.
It was a big non-decision last week, wasn't it, from David Teague not to move him onto Charlie Dixon. He said post-match he was tempted, kept the faith, and part of it was the impact that Wiedering himself was having, and they're on the move again through Cripps. Deep kick, well read by Walker, comes off his man. Now has to try and clean it up. So Kai's free.
It's good old-fashioned shove in the back, isn't it? Hard to complain about that.
Can't go around, go through.
His brother-elect withdrawal today for Carlton as Goldstein climbs high, drags down the mark. Off to Higgins.
Well, copped a little clip on the way through there, Paddy Cripps.
McDonald, driving kick out to the wing. It really didn't do his teammate much favour at all. Trencham, well done by Pitto. Another contested ball, and he charges off with good intent and then hits up the leading Larkey. Jones has given away the free. Does Brown take the advantage?
Well done by Jasper Pitto. Just realised the whistle had been blown and there was an advantage there to be taken. And they created a really good leading lane for Larkey. You could see the other forwards were trying to get out of that space to create that leading lane for Larkey. And this is the play that they need up and going to support Ben Brown up as a key position forward.
First possession for Nick Larkey. Goal and a half a game last year, and he delivers exactly what North Melbourne require, and that's a goal.
I don't think we should underestimate the work in the build-up by Jasper Pittard, and the fact that he's responsible for Sam Doherty, who's only had 3 possessions to date. I think that's a win for North Melbourne, but if he can get involved in the contest as well and be creating scoring opportunities like this, that is a job well done. Just a chip out in front. He just left the arm there, Liam Jones. He may have got away with it initially, but he probably thought that Larkey was going to get the second grab anyway. But terrific attack on the footy, shrugs the tackle, plays on, gets the advantage, and then sets up a goal for Larkey.
And good movement by the North Melbourne forward, especially Zerha. He realised when the advantage had been taken that he had to engage his defender, so he had to get his defender out of what was a dangerous space, what was eventually the leading lane for Larkey to lead into. So really good movement when he realised there was an advantage there by Zerha.
Looked like Ben Brown was about to take the advantage too. So a little something for Reece Shaw. He needs more of it. Back to 4 goals the difference. 5 consecutive losses for the Kangaroos. Goldstein, there been a bit of jumper tugging there. And the free kick is going to centre field. He can send Carlton forward. No one really on the mark. All closed late, but there's depth on the kick. McGovern looked likely through the air. Now McMillan, Martin, Higgins. It's still slippery and hard to control. Out the back, Pollock able to do that. Walker's a dangerous handball back into the traffic. Have another go. Josh, this time he tries with a boot and sends it away to even numbers. That could have been a free to Zerha. He run the ball anyway. Good numbers through the middle now for North. Crafty looking kick from Higgins. He hasn't quite hit it perfectly for Pittard as dragged Doherty down. It's play on. Wiedering throws it back to the wing. Little nudge, kept Cripps away. Pollock got plenty on the tackle with Cunningham. And now Anderson with the wide chip. Hall versus Plowman. And it's out.
It wasn't pretty, but you just wonder why Jed Anderson just didn't bang it a lot straighter towards goal. It was a bit of a nothing kick, easy to defend.
Let's get down to Alistair Lynch.
Yeah, it looks like young Hayden's getting his left knee attended to, being assessed by the physio at the moment, and seems like there's a fair amount of concern there.
Yeah, thanks, Lynchy. Ball over the top. Curnow. Bailey Scott versus Cunningham. Stood his ground well and wins the free. Yeah, Hayden had it cleaned up last week and tested okay, so he's back playing again today, but unfortunately looks like he's been injured in another spot. Showed great courage last week. Now Cripps under siege. There's North players all around him and no whistle. Look back at that. Might not matter for North. Lucky. He's got his second.
Well, how that wasn't holding the ball, I don't know, but Jed Anderson's wearing like a glove. He's all over him. So Jed Anderson's one of his greatest strengths is his tackling ability and to be strong in the contest. And you would have thought he had an opportunity to get rid of this ball beforehand and it falls out, but they remain alive. So Hall gets the ball and they just keep it alive. I thought Nick Larkey might have gone on his left foot, but straightens up. A really good finish. Having pressure come from the right-hand side and being able to kick on your right foot is quite a difficult kick, but a great tackle there by a group of North Melbourne players to keep the ball alive, and out it's spilled. They've had a good patch. They've had a good 5 minutes. Nothing's been pretty, but they've gained territory. They're prepared to scrap. They're prepared just to keep the ball moving, get it forward.
And that's probably the key point, Geordie. I think they have played sort of wet weather football. It's still greasy. There's no rain around at the moment, but just to get it forward, then hold it in their forward half and get those ground level goals.
Played round one against the Saints, but developed a hot spot in his left foot during the isolation period, Nick Larkey. And great to have him back. 2 goals, a good return in a half of football, which has still got 11, almost 12 minutes to go as Hall found Higgins. And the Roos take it wide. Intriguing duel this one between Doherty in his 100th game and Pittard as that defensive forward. Doherty gets Carlton moving, centre field again. They're clicking here. On the run, Cunningham, low ball into the 50. Hard to handle. Atley did it really well. To Higgins, to Hall. Lots of handballs. And eventually a kick and then some more along the line with McMillan bringing Atley back into the game. He seems uncertain as to where to go next. So kicks into the middle. Kick to the biggest guy you could see, Goldstein. Coming up to help out Bailey Scott. Nice little manoeuvre. Now Pollock is a long kick. He's got penetration. Pittard not quite. Doherty, who spent early part of his career on this ground with the Lions, of course. It's being an early draft pick. It's gone over and out.
Jeez, you just feel like that was an opportunity missed there by Pittard. He had a really strong position and the kick was good. He just needed to have a little bit of craft. Just sort of nudged Doherty under the ball. He would have had a nice mark and set shot.
A few of the stoppage in the pocket. And on the move, Zurhak creating havoc. Release the handball. It gets whacked away from Brown. Martin spinning, releasing to the outside where Simpson got the protection he needed from Murphy. Couple of old blue hands combining there. Just over McGovern's head. And it's out. So why do you think North have been able to just edge their way back into the game? Is it just in the ebbs and flows of a game?
Yeah, I think so. I think even that kick that came inside, it was a dangerous kick, but there's an unpredictability element of it. So sometimes you just got to make it up, and nothing seems certain. But you've got to just take risks. Like that kick there, beautiful. It's unpredictable. It's hard to defend. You're getting their runners back into the game.
Well, speaking of their runners, Atley, who delivers to the lead, and it was low, and he just couldn't quite take it. Zurhar, Pittard. Oh, what a bounce! What a bounce! He'll say he meant that. It doesn't really matter. They've kicked 3 goals on the bounce.
Yep. Okay. Scorer here. Umpire calls a goal. Please check it was touched.
Review underway.
Well, the player in Jones went up and said it was touched.
Nah, he didn't even put a harm up. Didn't get near it. Completely beaten by the bounce of the ball. It's interesting, though, because I thought the kick from Atley coming in was actually looking for Pittard, who was in space. And if they can use Pittard, that's important. If they can use him to make Doherty have to go and pick him up and not zone off and look for the rebounding ball, I think that's a big win for North. But for him to then follow up and get
these
involved.
angles, there appears to be a gap between the ball and the Carlton defender before it crosses the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
So your confirmation of 3 consecutive North Melbourne goals.
I'd love in that instance Liam Jones to turn around and say, well, I didn't touch it. It happened the other night, they still did the score review.
Yeah.
Now, if the defensive player says, I didn't touch it, just say, thanks, goal, back to the middle.
But is it an interesting thing for the goal umpire to go to? One, the player hasn't said that he's touched it. 2, she's in a really good position. Can't she just make the decision? Then they get reviewed anyway. So if there is something that has happened during the play, it'll get picked up. So
she's just blindsided because the ball was covered by Jones's body. So she perhaps thought, given it was a strange bounce, that maybe it did catch some of the body. But anyway, we got there in the end, didn't we?
Nice little bounce over Jones's head.
That was a ripper.
One of the most friendliest bounce you've ever seen, really.
But I'd love the defenders to give us a little bit of honesty. I mean, look at his body language. He's not even saying I touched it. So the umpire should just say, you know what, goal.
There's a goal for Pittard, who's doing his job.
He is. He's doing it. He's been dangerous up forward, and even in that instance, Doherty was nowhere to be seen. He had an amount of space. That's what you got to do when you're playing that role. You've got to quell the offensive threat that they provide, but also try and hit the scoreboard and make them pay.
Well, they've had 5 possessions each and a goal to Pittard, so that big tick for North.
Kennedy feeling the heat from Pollack, but couldn't get a legal possession out.
And they're much better around the contest now. They were belted in clearances early and contested ball, but they've certainly been able to stem that tide.
Yeah, +5, and they're getting the ball on the outside as well. That's a turnover. Setterfield driving kick for McGovern. He's got a metre, as you can see, on Mackay, but the fumble didn't help. Well, Mackay just went, I'm not sure what he was watching. He went tumbling over. He's done well, though, to send Pollack on his way. There's a good lead up the ground from Curtis Taylor.
It's a bad fumble from Mitch McGovern. They had a great opportunity there, the Blues.
Ben Brown covering plenty of territory. Hall to place the kick inside the 50. Plowman read the ball, read it well. Slight double grab from Kennedy. It's cost him. Marnie latches on with the tackle. Steam the ball up.
I like the kick from Ben Brown just to bring it back into the corridor, though, which opens up the other side of the ground and gives their forwards more opportunities. Too often we see that kick from Ben Brown, just a long inside 50 kick.
Anderson squeezed one out of there. There's Brown, hoping to find one of his teammates running the other way. Marnie. Haley Scott gets bowled over. He's got the footy. I think he's in trouble.
Got to be gone.
Yeah, you got to look busy in that instance. He just laid on the ball. Didn't look busy, like he tried to get rid of it.
Trevsky-Seaton measures off the pass. So let's see if Carlton are still in full attack mode or whether they just try and monopolise possession here for a little bit.
Well, I think so. I think they've been under heat. So what you need to understand from a Carlton player point of view is when you are under heat, you need to absorb that and a way to probably get momentum back is to slow the game down a little bit.
Walsh went to his captain. Cripps to Curnow. Probably took a step that he didn't have.
Yep. It was a really interesting kick from Walsh because he didn't like any option. So he thought, Anderson and Cripps, I'll just kick it in the air to the side of that contest. Now, he didn't take the mark, but he was able to win possession. Cripps, it's a really smart kick.
Yeah, so often we see they just submit and kick long down the line.
Yeah, bomb it high and long.
That had some direction on it, although Anderson doesn't take the mark, and Walsh was quick to pounce. Free kick go to Simpson, shake of the head. There was often Simpkin. Frustration. The talented young Room midfielder. He's struggling a bit to get into the game today. Simpson to half forward. Cripps touched. His reaction was quick. Walsh kicked the handball further inside 50. Full stretch. Kennedy through the legs. It was nutmeg Goldstein that time. The handballs continue. That was a ripper. And Walsh summed it up. He knew what he could do across the body and put it through. Cunningham, Setterfield, and then Walsh. One after the other for the Blues. That'll make Carlton fans happy, and it stems the flow.
It's a serious finish, Louis, but I reckon when he looks back, he'll think, I'm glad that went through, because he could have straightened and run all the way in.
I thought he was going to take the ground, and he could have kicked it from 15 metres out, but well, what a finish. And then you just see the Goldstein's head just drop as soon as that ball went through his legs. So you see there, he had space to run into and kick a drop punt, but
hand pass from Setterfield's brilliant. He did a really clever kick in the first term, a great hand pass here that just opens up the play and gives Walsh every opportunity.
Goldie wouldn't love the replay as it went between his legs, but that's a long way down for the ruckman. Sam Walsh again, just pivotal for Carlton.
Gee, that's a big bounce.
It is a hard centre there with the dropping pitch.
Dug in well. Get involved again. Cripps gets to the outside this time to Murphy. Back to the two captains. Doherty pushing forward in his 100th game. Gives the big fella something to jump at.
There'll be Australian cricketers all around the country going off their head at you, Geordie. No drop-in pitch at the Gabba.
Oh, yeah. Apologies.
Bumped away. Murphy, and they start again through Doherty. Nunes, unlikely flyer from the side. Marty immediately under pressure. Couldn't secure the ball. It's loose. Well done, Tarrant. And then McMillan. And now Walker, the former Lion, one of his two clubs. Oh, boy. That just gives Carlton a really good look through the middle. And dig in. Simpkins still not happy. He was screaming at the umpire. Even if he did get the ball back onto North Surge for a while. Plowman hits Petrevski-Seton. The leads came, but the problem was he didn't handle the footy clean enough. Williamson with the set-up kick. Moore, was there front on contact? No. McGovern. The ball.
Started the game so well, Mitch McGovern. He led up, got one of the first passages of play going forward from that first stoppage. Then he did a beautiful tap, which created a goal for Gibbons, but he just doesn't get involved enough. We saw him fumble early this quarter, caught in possession there.
He's had the one disposal. Two disposals.
Yeah.
Juggler for the veteran.
You can just see where the frustration comes from, though, because he looks like he's equipped to do so many things.
Plowman just hanging on as Martin, and great running from Petrevski-Seton. Got it at just the right time. Cripps again has to contend with two. Jamont doing that regularly. Higgins, clean pair of heels. Got it away to Pittard. He was looking for support. He's had to go back to find it. So eventually they're going to work their way forward.
So if you're North Melbourne, you should be using Pittard at every opportunity now, because Doherty's just sitting 10 metres behind him, looking to mop up and come back. They've got to hit him up like that as often as possible.
Tarrant can make a full assessment, and he's going to go straight and long. Down to Larkey. He got the one-on-one against Jones. Jones won the day. Plowman provides the way out. You can see the Blues streaming forward. May have been a little ambitious. Getting a little too clever there. And an opportunity which was swooped on by Pollock. Atley delayed the give into the pocket. Bailey Scott. Yes! Terrific finish from the young man.
Well, there was a couple of possessions. First the handball to get that player over the man on the mark was too loopy, so it just invited the North Melbourne players back into the contest, and then he had a chance to rectify that and clean up, and it was just a short kick. It wouldn't have been a 15-metre kick anyway, so it would have been called play on. But he just invited the pressure from North Melbourne.
He's done some good things, Jack Nunes, but he compounded it with back-to-back errors there, didn't he?
Usually when you get, usually when you want to give a handball to a player that's in a receiving position, it's got to get there quick so that player then can continue on his run. It was just far too loopy, which just got the North Melbourne players back in. A great finish in the end.
Jared Pollock just, I think, solidifying his place on the wing in the future.
Yeah, it was probably quite smart by him to not perform at his best in the first quarter in a position that he was unfamiliar with, but then certainly have a really good second quarter on the wing.
Back by Reece Shaw. Good to see Bailey Scott kicking a goal. He hasn't been able to recapture the form he showed in his very first game at the start of last year against Fremantle, but 6 disposals and now a goal. Some promising signs. That's a win in the middle for Jamont, who's been one of their consistent players this year, Trent Jamont. Game number 90, so he's now a pretty experienced performer. 25 disposals and kicked their first goal last week when they didn't look like they were going to kick any for a while. Good to see Hayden back out. Jamont again. So they're hanging in there, the Roos. Had a terrific second quarter after what looked like going to unfold here. Jamont again playing his part with Curtis Taylor. That's wide. Simpson had it covered and they didn't keep it in. So it's 4 goals to 2 for the quarter. What do you think David Teague would be disappointed in at this stage?
I think they've broken down defensively a couple of times. They've had the opportunity, they've had the opportunity to put a bit of a space on North Melbourne. They've really allowed them back in the contest. Not sure they've had the same intensity of their defensive mindset that they had in the first quarter. And I think conversely, Hutto, for Reece Shaw, thrilled that they're back in the game. They've made the most of their opportunities in the second term and got themselves in a position to attack the second half.
Crash and bash, and the free kick goes to Cunningham. Martin with a big leap. You can hear the gasp from the crowd. This appears to be a really good pickup for Carlton.
Just gave Robbie Tarrant a clip on the way past too.
Not a high possession player, but a dangerous player all the same. Davies Uniacke just working his way back into the game. Thumped away. It's there to be won at half forward for Carlton. Setterfield doing his best to convince the umpire. Brown takes the ruck contest. Pitternet knocked it away. Dumont left it behind. Curnow. Setterfield again. Davies Uniacke with a good tackle, prolonged, and wins the free.
Didn't have a lot of opportunity, did he? It was a really good tackle, so they've rewarded the tackle.
Pick 4 in the 2017 draft. Luke Davies Uniacke, 7 games in 2018 and then 14 last year before his season ended with a shoulder injury. Kick goes wide, the juggle from the big guy Pitnet, and it's over and out. So 2.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Kangaroos 5 consecutive losses coming in. The Blues to get to 4-4 and give themselves a fighting chance to play finals football this season. Crafty kick from Murphy. Casbolt kept out of it. Walsh, they inched a little further. McGovern in the frame. Higgins. Oh, just got a boot to it in the nick of time. McGovern had a look but didn't take the ball with him.
Thanks, Robbie. Robbie Tarrant.
He's in there somewhere.
Jeez, it was a different look at the last boundary throw-in with Ben Brown as the ruckman and Todd Goldstein as the rover.
Sting just going out of the Blues a bit. You can see that, as we've said, a much improved around the clearances performance by the Kangaroos in this second term.
We give credit to Mark Pitnet for the job he's done in this contest with Goldstein. He's almost matched him for hit-outs, just a couple more to Goldstein, but he's had virtually twice as many possessions around the ground. Love what he's doing.
I think he's had a pretty good season.
He has, Lynchy, absolutely.
Yeah, had a bit of a downer last week, and that's a good grab. With a free kick, it's a free to North.
Against Jack Martin.
Yeah, downer last week, but the week before against English, against the Bulldogs, he was in the best players, no doubt.
I think when he's played well, they've tended to win.
Just saw Robbie Tarrant have a few words after that one. I reckon he's copped 2 clips from Jack Martin the last 30 seconds, and he's not happy. Gave him a bit of a spray after that one.
Big 60 seconds here for both teams. 12 points in it as we close in on half-time.
So you just have a look at Martin coming in. He clipped him in the head before. Now he's come in and give him another little clip on top of the head. He's not overly happy, Robbie Tarrant.
Ruffling the feathers a bit.
He's starting to get angry.
It's a free to North. Set up kick along the line. Fist was clear, as you saw from Jones. No real urgency about William trying to keep the ball in. Sums it up just with 45 seconds to go. Oh, this could be a free against Walsh.
Well, I think he was just retaliating from what may have happened earlier.
And he's got sucked in, and it could cost them a goal. Lucky. And it's over and out. Well done from Liam Jones.
You're right, he was lucky. And here we see probably what started, a little elbow to the head.
But
it's always the case. The person that reacts second always gets caught. Hello?
Sounds like that you've learned that from
Growing up at home.
Geordie.
So, Geordie, the message is jump on the front foot early.
Be proactive. But they've done well North this quarter. They were convincingly beaten in the clearances around the ground. They've brought a physical nature to this second quarter.
It's actually their highest score to half-time this season, North Melbourne. Blues dig in and get it out of there. And avoid giving up another goal late in the quarter. Conceded 4 for the term. Still one last opportunity for North. Pollock, this is just beyond him. He has to move it quickly, realises that.
Right.
And Higgins so close. Denied in the end by Plowman. And it's over, it's out, and it's half-time. Much better quarter of football from Reece Shaw's North Melbourne. They kicked 4 goals to 2 goals, 1 in the term. What looked like it could be a Blues blowout has turned into a real tough struggle. And North are right in it. They're desperate to end their 5-game losing streak. They trail by 12 points at half-time, Sarah Jones.
Yes, it is very much a game on in Queensland between North Melbourne and Carlton. The Blues with a stylish start, but Reece Shaw's men have got themselves back in the game and are a chance of pulling off the upset. It has kick-started a massive Super Saturday right here on Fox Footy.
That pressure that they did in the second quarter. And then you look at Jai Simpkin from the North Melbourne point of view. He's only had the 4 disposals, so he would be a player that they need to get up and going in this game as well.
So we do get going in the third term. Goldston had a couple of goes at it. Murphy and Pollock coming in hard off the wing. Murphy was still standing and eased away from the contest. There he is, Eddie, his second touch. It's a set-up kick. They fight for front position. Callum Moore and Kaz Bolt, but it's Josh Walker who got the kick away. Anderson knew he was going to be wrapped up straight away, and he was from Cripps. Walsh back to his feet. Nunes tried to fight off the tackler, gave it back to the co-captain. Anderson is just tackling him for fun at the moment. And Dumont, it's over and out.
They're having a great tussle, those two. Cripps got the first opportunity to tackle Anderson, and then Anderson got the next one. Really good contest by those two players.
He's had 5 tackles so far, Jed Anderson. Patrick Cripps, 12 disposals, 5 tackles of his own. Goldstein gets it down, going no further.
And Jai Simpkin's been quiet tonight, but he's got that man in Ed Curnow following him all over the park.
He only played about 60 minutes last week because of injury, but he's out there again today. Pitting that high ball goal square. Ball was behind, as you saw, had to adapt. Higgins rushes it back to the wing. Larky comes up the ground, swooping with the same poise as he's shown for so many years for Carlton. Simpson off to Murphy, and they go again. Casbolt is set from the side. Martin, Hayden weaved his way through. Good confidence from the young man. Did he get a clean handball away? He must have.
I thought it was a strange kick from Mark Murphy. He had David Cunningham leading straight out at him. A little chip kick, 15 metres. He has a set shot from 45 on a 45-degree angle. But I think sometimes you've just got to take the easy option that guarantees you a shot for goal.
Shallow throw in. Pitnet reacted first, but Goldstein kept going, and as you saw, wore the contact. Interesting line call from there.
It's the hardest thing as a player because you've got this big, tall key forward in Casbolt.
Yeah.
They just demand attention, don't they? So your eyes automatically just connect with them.
I think we've forgotten the easy kick to the lead-up, though, at times.
Goldie jammed it on the boot. That was laced with danger. Kennedy looking for his third. Can't find it. So Kyron Hayden in his 8th game up against Eddie Betts in his 323rd game. Been able to quell him so far. Tarrant leading the Kangaroos today with no Zeeble and no Cunningham. Kicks it out towards the wing, towards Goldstein. There is Hayden flipping the handball out. Weren't on the same wavelength there, the two North players. It didn't go to the players it was designed for. Curnow gives the genuine one-on-one chance. And Mackay did well initially, but Jack Nunes has the last say. Kicks it through off the left boot. First one of the quarter to the Blues.
Now, I love the way he kept his balance, but he got the perfect bounce. The ball came back to him and he tracked it and turned and kept his balance and finished well.
You're right, it was the muck-up. As they were trying to exit, it was a muck-up between Simpkin Simpkin Anderson. I think the handball was from Simpkin originally, but and then they just invited the pressure here, and really good quick succession handballs. And it wasn't a great kick, so Newnes had to do some body work to get himself in a position where he had some time and space. And he just held the back space on Mackay, just gave himself an opportunity, but you're right. The bounce, this bounce
back
bang.
to him. Oh, beautiful.
Great passion displayed there by Jack Newnes.
It was a nice little kick from Curnow too. Didn't blaze away. Just kicked it into the vicinity of his teammate.
He's kick 2 now. Mark Murphy leads the way in the possession count for Carlton with 14 disposals. And Higgins has 13 for the Kangaroos.
Holding, Carlton.
No, that should have been an advantage
taken
there, because Kennedy went for the hand pass to release Cripps.
Stay out.
Very lucky to get another crack at it.
Seems to be the way today. Curnow for Doherty, continuing to duel it out with Pittard. His milestone game. Up to half forward, and Anderson wears just a little bit of something from Levi over the top.
So it's what North Melbourne have done really well. They've denied Carlton the corridor, just forced them down the line into that ball movement, that slow ball movement down the line. They've really denied the corridor.
And that's what we saw Port Adelaide able to do for periods of last week. And then at other times, Carlton, as they were in the opening term, were able to release it. So that's, I guess, partially what the game hinges on, isn't it? Whether Carlton can have their way in that manner. Hitnet gets it down and goes a second time. Martin up around the footy. Left foot kick to half forward again. It's Walker, and again the shove works to his advantage. That was legal.
Good strength. Good strength.
Been a handy pickup for North so far this year.
Another one of those players that you get for nothing, Hutto, that just doesn't roll for you.
Yep.
Play on. Play on.
Robbie Tarrant. Saw the one-on-ones ahead for Anderson, but Newnes again. So now Tarrant will have to go to work in the air. They've denied him the mark. Mackay, whoops. And Tarrant strolls through. Eddie asked the question. The umpire says, yep.
Perfectly legal, Hutto. Under pressure within 5 metres.
Pittard left it behind. Williamson now cops the tackle. Has he done enough? No, he hasn't. Whether he could have done, I guess, is another question. But
I think his initial concern was how was he going to land on the ground, and he wanted to cushion that before he tried to get the ball out.
handball threaded through beautifully by Davies Uniacke. Unfortunately, the kick up into the 50 from Jamont does not hit the target.
That's what he does so well. Larkey was leading back towards goal, and Jones never took his eyes off the ball, so he just read it quicker.
Martin was like, who, me? Was that meant for me? Or?
It was a perfect passage of play for North. It was just the final kick missed the mark. That was the only thing wrong with it.
Unfortunately, that's a fairly significant thing, Jess.
Well, it is, and that the problem is it also discourages you from playing quick like that again when you're not getting the reward.
Get an update on Mitch McGovern in just a moment from Lynchy as Martin, right near that Carlton interchange bench, goes short. Go now, Lynchy.
Yeah, Mitch McGovern is just sitting on the interchange bench with the tracksuit on. He's only had a quiet day with 2 disposals, but looks like he is pretty settled on the bench there. He doesn't look like he's coming on anytime soon.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll get it. See if we get an update on that as soon as we can. Carlton fans, or Ben Mackay not playing today out with a niggle injury that he sustained training on his own. He wasn't able to train with the group midweek, Ben Mackay, because his COVID test hadn't come back, the result of it.
He was looking good too. He's such a dynamic forward. He's just starting to look confident.
3 goals last 2 weeks, Ben Mackay. We're looking forward to maybe coming up against his brother. And now they're without Mitch McGovern from appearances at least. Polak in everything at the moment. Higgins displaced. And the free kick is going his way.
He was sweating on him, Jack Martin. He just needed to be better with his technique.
Danger, and it grows and grows. And that forward pressure that the coaches love so much is going to result in a real shot for goal here.
It wasn't a great hand pass from Higgins to give, but also for Polak to take it with his back to play. I mean, you've got no concept of what's around.
And turn back in towards the traffic. You want to take that ball and roll to the open side. That's why you see sides just chip mark in the back half, because the forward pressure from the majority of the sides is so good. You just don't want to invite that. especially so close to your goals.
2 goals won last week. Highly contested ball player is Jack Martin. So not huge numbers, but generally a high percentage of those are won in the contest. So Reshaw ponders as Martin does him a big favour.
See, that's a bad kick. That's letting them off.
Turn set out. McMillan goes for Pittard versus Doherty, who flew. Crept out the back with Kennedy. And then Williamson makes a bold move forward and identified the handball option really well. Good progression from the Blues. Gibbons up to provide a target. Quickly turns, glances up into the 50. They're on the move. Eddie's in the pocket. Maybe not the best option. Maybe Walker in the end could have taken the mark, but he was making sure that no mistakes were made.
Got a bit to say to the umpire, Eddie. That's a sign of frustration, isn't it? When you're just struggling to get into the game.
2 disposal, no score for Eddie Betts. He's on the move here. You can see him darting at the back of the stoppage. Tarrant. Larkey joined in late. Murphy again. Try and chain up the handballs. Petrovsky-Seaton ran back through the pressure. If North can force a turnover here, they had runners on the inside, but that's not what occurred. As you saw, it's Jones sending it deep. They're well positioned. McMillan left it behind, and Betts was coming. Slides in, play on the call. McMillan doing a bit of a Eddie Betts impersonation there with the shorts. Play on the call. Gibbons went for the curly kick. It doesn't come to be. Martin flew, so did Walsh. Kennedy, no whistle. Kerno.
A lot of courage from Jack Martin, running with a flight of the ball, trying to take that mark, not knowing what's coming at him.
So Carlton have kicked 1 goal 4 to nothing in this 3rd quarter so far.
So you can sense that Eddie's getting a little bit frustrated, but you can also sense that the Carlton side, they're so desperate to score, so there needs to be some composure around that. Too many shots at goal, just been those blaze away, those really low percentage shots at goal.
Game was being played in their half of the ground. Kennedy to Ben Brown. Outstanding mark down low for a big fella. Opportunities again have been hard to come by today for Ben Brown. Kicked a nice goal early. His 5th disposal finds Pittard. Larkey is the focus of the kick.
That's a mark.
I think
that
all
was
the
a
players.
mark. You got to pay that. Although to the umpire's credit, he called play on straight away, didn't he? Made his decision. It looked like a pretty good mark.
Normally they are paid, aren't they? Even though clearly Larkey got a little piece of it.
Yeah, at the same time, they pay them though, don't they? 2 strong grabs like that.
Goldstein just pats it down. Murphy. Pollock searching. Found something he liked. Zerha went to ground as he kicked. That's across the face.
So the opportunity here is for North just to lock the ball in their forward 50 zone. Set up the wall for the outlet kick and just maintain scoring opportunities. Time in the forward 50.
Margin 22. Pittard on the move. Petrovsky-Seaton. Now Setterfield. Nunes, aggressive handball, maybe a little bit too much so. Who knows? Yes, they get clear, so it was all worth it. It ends well. Cunningham, he had Gibbons short, he ignored that, and it wasn't necessarily a wise decision. And McMillan didn't take the mark, so that allows the Blues and a desperate Levi Casbolt back in. Gibbons, you could see his frustration. It was an option for the short kick. Lets his teammate know about it.
Was it Kennedy at half-back with that superb hand pass that released the Blues? Gee, it was quick. It was lightning.
Blackman split the honours again. Simpkin. Checked closely all day by Curnow. They get this one into the clear. Brown up to meet it. And on the turn, again, not on the same wavelength at all. Jones playing the ball on its merits, and now Kennedy's turning Carlton back into attack. Bolton Martin with the targets in the air. Atley gets the run and the handball. Hall sees a pathway through the middle. Went for Brown, but he gave Wiedering a bit of a glance. Clever play by Brown. Hacks it forward and then over the top.
High, Carlton, advantage.
Free kick, as you saw, went against Serhart. Petreski-Seaton is
lazy.
Yeah, he's just stood back, didn't he? Simpkins stripped immediately. Jamon feeling the heat from Walsh. The contest starts to grow on that outer wing. Wiedering, though, gets himself into the clear. And got nowhere near his target. Well done by McDonald.
It's just polish at the moment, isn't it?
Neither team can use the ball properly.
So North Melbourne have to tidy up their inside 50s. There's no connection between their forwards, especially on the lead.
They haven't scored in this quarter. It's gone almost 14 and a half minutes, and again they come unstuck.
Well, that's another case in point. Jones had left Larkey and 20 metres. I mean, Larkey was waiting for a 75-metre pass, which is just not going to happen.
Oh, Williamson got himself into trouble. The pressure was passed to Plowman. Can he see his way through it? Now he's taken the ball to ground. He's in a heap of trouble here, Plowman. He's gone.
Yeah, the umpire had a good vantage point there. It's just been hard to get a really good connection going forward. On multiple occasions, Jones was that player that was just reading the ball better than Larkey, and just a beautiful tackle. Once you grab an arm, it's so hard for the player.
Yep. Because the other arm holding the ball's free, so you've got to get rid of it.
But he knows that if he tries to, it'll look like incorrect disposal.
Yeah.
So that's what's going through his head.
But again, a bad error. Tom Williamson just dropping a simple mark, thinking he had the ball before he actually got it.
Terry Pollock has been prominent again in this quarter. Started the day as a tagger. That lasted one quarter. He's back as a wingman, scoring goals for North Melbourne. And there's still hope for the Rouge yet. Their first score of the third quarter brings them back within 16 points.
It was a messy couple of minutes of play, just both sides just missing or not executing a skill. And then Plowman just the handball, but the pressure from North Melbourne was good. You know, Larkey stayed in the contest, Pollock stayed in the contest. As we said, once you get that arm free, you've got to try and get rid of it, whether you drop it on your foot if you have time. But as you said, the fumble caused all that pressure to come.
He's had a good day since quarter time. Must have been thrilled to get rid of the Cripps role and get back to his traditional wing position, where he's just, I think he's had 13 possessions since quarter time. Kicked a goal now. Going very well.
How do you think Carlton deal with the lack of McGovern for the rest of the game in terms of...
Well, the bottom line is he hadn't contributed effectively. He'd only had the 2 possessions. So I don't think you can use that as an excuse.
I think I was just more
They've still got Casbolt and Moore, so they've still got 2 key position forwards up there.
Are you talking about the rotation, Hutto?
Yeah, or just the structure. Do you want to change things up forward, bring someone else down there? McDonald, driving kick on the way out. Oh, McMillan just couldn't cling on. Pollock slides one. Marnie left it behind, pouncing on it, Simpson. Good follow-up and chase by Pollock. Now Eddie Betts. A long way from home.
Must be hard to kick with your pants around your knees.
The basketball shorts.
I'm so low there.
Yeah, but I think they'll just ask Pitnet to do majority of the ruck so they can still have Moore and Casbolt down there as their key position, their pillars down forward.
Close checking, as you saw from the stoppage, but not close enough on that man. Cripps with the handball. Curnow probably had more time, although he was up against the boundary, so maybe that was the reason for the hasty kick. And McDonald getting plenty of the footy just at the moment. Picked out Anderson, and Cripps has hurt himself there. How badly?
Did he put the studs up?
Yep.
So Higgins didn't get it completely cleanly, but gives them a run and jump at the footy, and Zerha does just that. A quick release to Hall. Delivery's excellent. So Bailey's got an opportunity for his second goal.
I think it's just taken the wind out of him, hasn't he? Might have got it in an uncomfortable
Certainly looked
position.
like he lifted his leg. Yeah.
Probably just winded him.
Hopefully, as long as there's no internal damage.
Are you allowed to do that with the studs? I thought they brought that rule in.
The Toby Green rule.
Bailey Scott, that looks a good shape. Then suddenly it's game on again at the Gabba.
I like the ball movement, and specifically coming out of their back half. The kick from McDonald not to go long to a contest, just pulled it a little bit to Jed Anderson, and then their ball movement flowed from that. So you catch the defence off. So the defence that was initially set for the Luke McDonald kick, you can bypass them from just kicking a little bit short of that contest, and then you get your run and carry players involved.
When you look at that mark, particularly from that angle, it didn't look bad. It didn't look like he was deliberately putting the studs up to get him in. Now, it's obviously made some contact, and we saw Cripps just signalling to someone else to go into the middle. He's moved himself forward.
It's pushing the line, though, isn't it, as to what you're allowed to do. And now the North players getting into Patrick Cripps as well, down in the 50.
It makes you think whether it was a team thing to go and make his day really hard and be physical with him when you have the opportunity.
You'd be an expert in that area, Jordan. So it's back to 10. Carlton, as we've said, they've had a habit of close finishes. They were hoping, no doubt, to avoid that today when they jumped out of the blocks quickly. But it tightens up again. Anderson feeling the heat from Martin's done enough to remove the ball, and now Setterfield sends it Cripps' way. Being watched by Tarrant, would you believe? Tarrant with the fist first. And then Gibbons whacking away the Blues. In deep again. Tough bounce for Casbolt, who saw a chance to line up Luke McDonald all the way through. Levi just the 3 disposals, 1 goal today. So the 3 big guys, Casbolt, McGovern and Moore, we know McGovern's off injured. 6 disposals between them and 1 goal.
In fact, Moore's the one they've gone to more often than not.
Here's Gibbons, though, with an opportunity. Well, he almost got the unbelievable bounce there, but it missed. McDonald safely brings the ball back into play and finds Davies Uniacke, who gets some direction, told to take it out wide to Ben Mackay, who has Jamont. A little further ahead, as you saw at the bottom of your screen, decides to go by hand instead. So Atley can slide off half-back.
Look, we've seen both Jones and Wiedering take front position away from the forwards a number of times. They're reading the play better. They know that the ball can't be kicked over their head. It's going to take something extraordinary. It'll take a 70-metre torpedo to get it over their head.
Wiedering and Ben Brown started shoulder to shoulder as Atley got the ball there.
It's just a greater awareness of what's happening, isn't it?
And neither of the North Melbourne players have a real presence to draw the ball, so they're reacting more than being proactive.
Snatched by Cunningham over the big fella. Took it out of Mackay's hands, and suddenly the ball's at full forward. Cripps is there, but he's not there.
Well, there's their best forward on the ground for North Melbourne is Walker. He's the one that actually draws the ball and can lead. He's got some presence.
And takes a mark too.
Unfortunately, it's going to be hard to kick a goal from where he is at the moment, Lynchy.
Yeah, you can't afford to move him. He's playing well down back.
Even that kick there, you kick into a contest, but it was to his disadvantage because it was over his head.
Here they come again, the Blues. And it's kick to kick. It's like lunchtime at the moment.
This bloke's at the wrong end.
And Jace, on that one, you've got to nullify it. Yeah, it's not your position. You're not in a great position, but you've got to bring the ball to ground. And that's something North don't do.
Just finding a way to halve a contest.
They might be able to launch from a better spot here. Atley constrained, so in the end, it's a similar result. Although they've disrupted each other, and now Zerhart makes the right decision. No free kick. It is paid to Scott. Arms chopped, so this could be back to a 1-goal ball game. 2 goals already for Bailey Scott.
Thought he'd done enough to spoil the ball, Mark Murphy. He thinks he's hard done by. But this is a big kick. He's kicked the ball very well, Bailey Scott. He looks very accomplished in front of goals. Not sure there was a lot in it.
Well, that's right through for his 3rd goal. And the Kangaroos have set this up for a cracking last quarter.
They've just remained in the contest, haven't they? You know, it hasn't been pretty. They've struggled at times to really generate some ball movement, but they've brought that physical nature, I suppose.
Free kick or not?
For me, I think the umpire was behind Murphy, so he may have seen his left arm grab the left shoulder and just drag him to ground.
You would have kicked 3,000, Chief, if that was a free kick.
Most importantly, what Bailey Scott's done is he's taken the opportunities when they've presented.
And so have North since the start when they missed a simple shot from Todd Goldstein and Zurhaar missed one on the run. They haven't faltered since then.
The other pleasing aspect was Zurhaar's contest on the far side. It was a 2-on-1 situation, and that was that situation we're talking about, Jace. He couldn't mark it, but did enough to bring it to ground and stay in the contest.
The amazing thing here is Carlton's had 16 inside 50s for 1 goal 5 in the third quarter. North Melbourne's only had the 7 inside 50s. They've kicked 3 goals.
As the rain starts to come down here at the Gabba.
So who does that help, you think?
Not me.
Very good.
He's having a tough year, let's be honest.
It's the first time we've had rain in Queensland. It's every weekend at the moment.
20 days of footy in a row means 20 days of lynching in a row. Because that's where the footy's being played. They've got it moving. Again, the Kangaroos with 20 seconds to go. High tackle. No, he's going to get the free. The frustration's growing for Carlton. You can see it. You can sense it. No, it's touched off the boot, but it gives everyone a chance. Bit of chaos. Jamont left it behind. Higgins came charging through. Hayden was able to slide through nicely. Jamont, if he can hit a target, they'll get one last shot. And Pollock's taken it.
I think Murph...
You should reverse that.
He has reversed it. He has reversed it.
That's just dumb from Jasper
You just
Pittard.
hope that that does not cost you come the end of the game.
This is where I just hate this aggression. It's fake aggression.
Fake, yeah.
And you've got a teammate having a shot for goal.
Let's see. We'll make your call. Carlton fans are going to watch another shot after the siren until this happened.
Good contested mark from Pollock. He just completely outplays Mark Murphy. There's just no need to do that.
You're right, it doesn't prove anything.
It's not tough. He's got to shake that off now. He's played a good game, Pittard. He's just got to shake that off.
So, 3 goals straight to 1-5 the Roos kicked. And they're back within 5 points. The plot thickens, the rain comes down. There's a quarter to go. Stay with us.
Go down to the forward line. We'll let some young kids really take responsibility.
Love that conversation between Pittard and Doherty. I think Pittard was just saying, I just touched him like that.
He was lucky the shore didn't see it.
So the umpire throws it up and we're underway again. Both ruckmen looking to react once it hit the ground. Play on the call. Simpkin has had a tough day. His 8th disposal. Sends them forward, gives them hope. Pittard might feel he owes them a goal. Can't take the mark. Zurhaar. And it's going to be greasy. It's going to be hard to win clean, effective ball. And that one's a prime example.
Yep, so from a player point of view, you don't necessarily look for the switch or look for the kick inside. It is just a territory battle.
Yep.
Taylor, who can fly.
And the other thing that'll be critical here is who can take those half chances when they present themselves. It could be a scrappy kick, it could be one off the deck, or it might be a set shot, but you've got to take them when they present. Good to see Paddy Cripps back up on the bench.
And the grippo on. Goldstein got hands on the ball first.
And another thing in the ruck contest and around the ground, you'd love to see ruckman just hit the ball forward, get the ball from that initial contest going your way.
Aaron Hall. Skill kick for Taylor. Another chance to set up. Polak couldn't put forward into the kick, and it favoured Plowman, who body lines it well. So Carlton lead by 5. Dominant first quarter, and North have gradually worked their way back closer and closer. Although, as we said, a lot of the numbers favoured the Blues in that third term. Good effective fend from Polak. Got himself loose. Gives his forwards an opportunity. Jones over the top, Zurhaar, and now Larky's got it, I reckon. It slides away from Williamson. It's a line baller. No, he reckons he's touched it.
He's not celebrating Larky, is he?
What does make contact with the umpire? Can we just check the score a little bit? Score review. Ball's hit the umpire. Can we check the score, please?
Review underway.
Oh, hit the post.
Yeah, hits the post. See it change direction off the post. He'd be a relieved man, Mark Murphy. That was a very...
complete. Looking at this angle, the ball clearly hits the goalpost. Decision on the scoreboard.
A very soft tackle attempt on Jared Polak, which allowed the ball to go forward again.
Like up to 18 disposals. That one goes through for a minor score. Wilson is off.
Good hands. Not easy in wet weather to take the ball like that.
Good running from Murphy. Put a bit of space between himself and Pollock. Can he use it to his advantage? Just softened the kick a fraction, so they run up and jump at it. Almost forced to defend. The attackers there. Walsh to Martin. Back again. The same spot, this time with Casbold in front. Made a good run at it. Tarrant. Lots of appealing, but denied by the umpire.
You would have loved for Polak on the wing just to keep Mark Murphy boundary side, make it predictable for his defenders. You never let a player come back on the inside because it just creates indecision down the ground.
That was on the move. But without it again. Jamont, Cripps, Walsh, they all kept at it. Simpkin got a little toe poke in. Ends up with Plowman. Now Nunes. Another squeeze of Hall, and then he fumbled in turn. He had no idea that Walsh was coming. The advantage is leveraged quickly. Nunes into the pocket, and Levi chips. Walker's done well there.
Probably not the spot you want to be kicking the ball when you're going inside 50, right up against the boundary line. You want to keep it in a dangerous position.
Goldstein with a fist. They find a way out. Walsh, though, sends them back again. By Simpson, so they've gone all the way back to Doherty. You can see Plowman move away. Give them a path forward. Zerha's always working hard. He's got arms waving furiously on the mark. Just trying to create a bit of havoc. But cool hand and a cool boot from Plowman gets it to Jack Martin. Possession 14 coming up.
It's not, but it takes ground. So what you don't necessarily want to do in wet weather is kick to 1v1s that are short and just entice that turnover. So it was a poor kick, but at least he took ground with his kick in these types of conditions.
Pollock has to do the same. Settles on a one-on-one. Knocked away from Larkey by Jones. Multiple tackles laid there on Simpkin. He reckons he got a handball away. Curnow won the free. 4 points the margin, 12.5 to go. Oh, missed the light. It got out the back, though. It got dangerous. Jamon will know that. Turning under duress from Nunes. Anderson couldn't handle it cleanly. Walsh, blasting kick deep. The two ruckmen are there having a cuddle on the line. Walker with the fist down to Hayden. And now the clearing kick. Could this turn into something positive for North? Taylor goes hard at it. He wore the contact. Simpson kept his feet. Pittard went once. Simpson went again. He's laid out. He's got a free.
Gee, it was good, Cade Simpson, wasn't he? He just does the right things, Lily, all of the time.
But what a let-off. What a let-off. They were building pressure there, North Melbourne.
Walsh up to 18 disposals now. And Levi got loose.
I reckon Eddie ran a little bit of interference for him.
Yeah, Josh Walker is furious. Absolutely furious.
Now, these are the kicks we're talking about. Goals coming at a premium. This is an opportunity that needs to be taken.
Well, at first glance, you look at his season, and 10 goals won looks pretty good. It is, but he's missed a few completely, so you're never quite sure with Levi, but history says he's a good chance.
It's even more important to have everything in line and run straight when it's wet, because when you kick across the ball, there's a tendency for it just to slide off the boot a little bit.
Back to 5 points. Tarrant. Pittard waiting at the back. Almost get it to him. Blues stole the march again, though. While servicing Jones. Deep they go. Eddie trying to work onto this. And he's in again on the second time. Murphy out the back. Martin, darting eyes. Hand pass goes back to Cripps. High fend, it's going to cost him again. He's had that sort of day. It feels like a feel's going against him there, Paddy Cripps. And Marnie to take the free kick for North Melbourne. Fifth game of footy. It's a tight. Kai. Brown got worked underneath it by Wiedering. Ball jolts at the back. Moore, Hayden, Plowman. Plowman again, it's over and out.
We are seeing a defender's even more focused on putting body on Ben Brown because he just doesn't have that body strength to hold himself in marking contests. Wiedering's done it very well today.
Carlton fans finding voice. They urge their team on. It was just a little bit clumsy from Gibbons.
Gee, that's lucky to get a free kick when you just dive on the ball like that. You've just got to sweat on them as the opponent. Let them get themselves in trouble.
And Brown at full stretch again. Denied. Kerner. Back they go again. North Melbourne defence under siege. Holding up for the moment. Hayden once more. 8-3, the inside 50s for the quarter so far. Pittard with a fly. Taking a screamer, but it wasn't a marking contest in the end. And we're going to have a ball up.
They just need to break this part of the ground, don't they, North Melbourne? You feel like if they can get past this little contest here, they're away. North Melbourne have just done so well or Carlton have done so well just to keep it from not going any further.
And frustration, though, for David Teague, that they have not been able to convert opportunities into goals so far. Anderson, McDonald first. Setterfield, Pollock suddenly found the footy near him. Cunningham pounced, and he is a long kick of the footy. Is he a straight kick this time? Oh, yes, he is.
That is a brilliant goal, and I'll tell you one thing that he did particularly well, Louis. We've seen a lot of players fumbling the ball. He turned, swiveled, grabbed the ball clean as a whistle, which gave him the most time that he possibly could have to change direction, face the goals and pick out his target. So many players have been fumbling when the ball's been down. He gets a nice little bounce when it comes his way, but he just handles it so cleanly. Just picks it up.
Right, he put 20 metres on Mackay, didn't he? Just by not fumbling and just having that agility right from when you mark the ball. You never know what's behind you, so if you can have that step straight away when you get the ball, it just breaks any sort of pressure that may be coming from behind. A really classy finish. Jace, you spoke about goals at a premium. That was a really important touch.
Second goal for David Cunningham, a very valuable one for Carlton right now.
And they've needed him because the key position players haven't been kicking the goals for them, so he's played an important role.
Cripps, some rare space. And the driving ball has the forwards leading hard and wide. Casbolt stayed afloat. Handball back for Kennedy. It wasn't easy for him. Poke forward to Walker and his advantage. Saw off one tackle and then the second. Used the hands to good effect. Jamont surveys what's ahead. Went for Larkey. He went to ground. Has to come again, Jamont. Does he take an aggressive kick? No, more curls it down the line. Doherty well placed. Pittard's done enough. Davies Uniacke tries to protect the space.
Maybe deliberate.
It is. Yes, it is.
Well, didn't disguise it that well. Just tapped it straight over. I know he was under pressure.
Davies Uniacke just sort of let him do it. You could see what happened. Larkey tries to work his way to the front. A lot to overcome here for North Melbourne. Taylor's on the move now. He's tackling Murphy. Play on. So he's lucky in a way to get away with that. Quick kick from Doherty. It's back to the line. What's this one going to be? Yep.
Oh!
Again.
And that that's gone out in front of Casbolt as well.
Here's the one that was moments ago, so that was deliberate. This under pressure.
Kick goes back to the dangerous spot again.
Yeah, happy with the first one, not happy
Can't do
with the
much
second
about
one.
the second one.
Carlton players everywhere in defence. They get it out then, back to the wing. Critical moment here. It's there to be won. Terrence stood tall, got it forward. Bart Nunes got in the right place at the other end.
It's been a good player from today, Jack Nunes. 13 possessions, a couple of goals.
Martin placed it for Kerner.
So this is where you're talking about that territory battle, Louis. You just want the ball in your forward half to then lock it in and make it a real slog.
Clock could become a factor fairly soon for Carlton.
So that's deliberate, according to the rule, the way he got pinged before. But that won't bother Carlton. You can see the Blues fans going spare. But they want stoppage after stoppage now in their forward half.
It just gives them a chance to reset, gives them a chance to get their structure behind the ball quite sound.
That last touch could have been damning if the umpire had seen it. Whether he did or not, I'm not sure. Martin puts himself in the line of fire. Now, is he convincing the umpire?
And this is the hardest part. Back when it wasn't interpreted differently, you could hold the ball in there and suck some more time out of the clock. Now players have got to be careful because they can get done holding the ball.
And that's why that part of it is a good rule in terms of excitement at the end of a game. And the ball is back in motion. Rishaw watching on as the kick goes forward. And Plowman there takes the mark.
And that's what you want when you're going forward. You need composure.
6 minutes 40 in driving rain. North on top in the clearances in this last quarter. Can they win another one here and give themselves an opportunity? No, it's Kennedy that nudges it forward for the Blues. Cunningham, hack forward from Kerno. And Casbolt sees it out.
So it's nearly the perfect play. A little hack kick to a forward who was playing in front, then to a handball, then to gain another 30 metres of territory. Really good play in wet weather footy.
Pitnet back on the ground, comes straight into the ruck contest.
Directional knockdown from Goldstein to Jamont. Kerno, it's a game of just small gains at the moment. Anderson back towards half forward. Petrovsky-Seaton. Williamson just kicked it while he could. Now there's appeals everywhere for deliberate.
Oh, they would have torn the grandstand down if he played that one.
It's good to have enough people to tear a grandstand down again, Jason.
Yeah, it's great to see crowds, isn't it? The lucky ones, Hutto.
Yep, 11 points the margin. Well, standing out in this wouldn't be that good.
I'll be happy doing that.
Goldstein, and the cut and thrust of it all as the clock counts down under 6 minutes now.
That was a great option off the deck.
Cunningham again. He's thriving in these conditions. That would have been even better than the last one.
He's handling it like a clean ball.
His eyes lit up.
Yeah.
He remembered back to the time where he had that shot 5 minutes ago. He had options on, so you still need to think your way through it.
And last week, of course, he had the head-up pass that he didn't take, so you remember that. But they're up by 2 goals at the moment. 5.5 to go.
So you like Goldstein's attitude out of the ruck contest, trying to tap the ball forward. Then we saw a little snippet right then in that contest, just trying to generate some momentum going forward.
You look to the leaders now for both teams. No bigger leader out there than Paddy Cripps. Higgins watching him closely.
It is driving rain, isn't it? It is hosing down.
Higgins' jumper was being tagged. High ball. Yeah, not giving his teammates much of a chance. Young Marnie Warwan got out the back, leaped through. And the opportunity still there for Ratley. No one stopped him. He weaved through and he hits Pittard. Oh, but he drops the mark. It's tough going on all counts now. Martin back ready to wear one for the team. And he takes the mark with 4 minutes 50 remaining, what might have been for North.
4:50.
Yeah, it was probably Pittard's moment to make up for what happened with the free kick. And drop mark and then a 50-metre penalty, that kills you.
He doesn't have to really be in a hurry here.
50 again. Against who?
Yeah, in the middle of the ground it was. It was against Zerha, I think it was.
Wow.
He took his opponent to the ground.
That is critical. So now Jack Martin with an opportunity to kick the set shot from directly in front. He won't be far out, 20 metres out. But again, in driving rain like this, not as easy a kick as it looks.
And Reece Shaw, how will he be feeling? He's seen a goal given up by Pittard on the siren at three-quarter time.
Yep.
And then a double 50. Jack Martin, we know it's not easy. No kicks are right now.
Slipped straight off the outside of the boot. He does have a tendency to lean back when he kicks. That's a bad miss. That's a horrible miss.
So, just a jar. Blues fans don't need another heartbreaking thriller. But North would love to keep having a crack. Or Brown, he's knocked himself out there, I think.
Yeah, no, he hit his head straight onto the ground. Doesn't look in a good way.
Just he's getting up, so still not in a great way, as you said. Through the middle, there's a hole there, there's a gap to run. And kick long, McDonald does just that. Zerha beaten to the ball by Plowman. Martin can't scoop it up. Ben Brown's up back on his feet. Kangaroos need to find someone to find the ball. They need to find it now. The urgency couldn't be any greater. Under 4 minutes to go. What sport are we playing?
Yeah, but it was good. He gained another 5 metres and got a stoppage.
Good news with Ben Brown.
Yep.
3:41 to go. At the back, Goldstein trying to get it into the open. Murphy's kick wiped out in an instant. Bailey Scott, still a chance for North. Pittard took on the world. Lost. And now it's in the back. Oh wow.
There's some big moments. Pittard probably, as he was leading out, had the chance just to tap it into the path.
Marty off to Hall. To Aaron Hall, and that is a beautiful kick. It's not over yet.
I'll tell you what was smart is once Marnie got the free kick, he jogged back. He was aware of the time. He knows that the clock can become a factor. So get back quickly, give yourself options, and in the end he found Aaron Hall, who kicked it beautifully. So
here's the free kick for the push in the back. It's stiff, but realised he had contact from Simpson, so he just dove forward. You can argue whether it was pushed in the back or not. It's probably a soft free kick in the end, but
you know what? Reece Shaw might feel that he deserves something to come his way after what a couple of his players have done.
If you're a Carlton side, you
look at that, no awareness around the footy from Carlton.
Just when they thought it was safe to breathe, again, Carlton fans, they might have to go through some more torture.
Well, how important was that kick from Jack Martin down the other end?
Correct.
What a beautiful kick from Aaron Hall. Showing you can still kick goals in these conditions. They're feeling it. David Teague down on the bench. Luke Power, experienced player, knows all about this ground. They watch on. Pitner gets the tap. Higgins goes through one way. Martin the other got disposed of. Murphy, important territory, but Tarrant knows where to position himself. High ball in the ruckman in the wet. Run, boys, run! Pollock. And Walsh did run, and the error came, and that's a big win for Carlton. It doesn't want to go out.
Like time slowed down there for a moment. Oh,
that's just
soft.
Soft.
Toughing it out.
Smart. Got 20 days in a row to get through here. So I'm in the corporate suite in a minute.
Tough minute football. That's the Lynch. On the throw-in.
No Carlton ruckman.
Yeah, Goldstein allowed to fist it. Fist it he did. Walsh got disposed of by Dumont. Smart play. They averted the danger not once but twice, and then Pittard with a kick to the one-on-one. Stretching Zerha. Plowman, excellent. Paddles, but then runs into trouble. Oh, he's going to get the free. It's a Carlton free. And be careful there.
Yeah, that's where you've got to be careful, particularly in wet conditions, because if you go to ground and slide, your momentum's going to continue to go, and you could really do some damage taking players' legs out.
Pressure seconds tick away. Plowman sends it the right way if you're a Carlton fan. And Goldstein gets it out of bounds.
He's had a couple of really important contests, Lockie Plowman, in the last 5 to 10 minutes. Really solid down back. Probably the soccer kick at centre-half forward that gained them 30 metres in that contest there. Good one-on-one win.
Well, he, as much as anyone will remember last week, because he was the one on Robbie Gray. from the throw in. Goldstein fist, Murphy, a half kick at best. Hayden, the ball feels so difficult to control and contain right now. Under 2 minutes remaining, it opens up for Zerha. He couldn't get a clean possession away, and it's holding the ball. And now Carlton. It's a dangerous game to be chipping. That's a pretty safe kick, that one.
Yeah, and look, they get an opportunity to suck some time off the clock, make it very difficult, given North Melbourne have to score twice.
Wiedering decides to go for nothing more short. Down the line for Pitnet. Trying to spin through was McDonald. Rue still bashing away, but they have to get it out of here, and it's got to be on this move forward, you would think. So a minute 10 remaining. They've got about 40 seconds to kick a goal to give themselves a live chance at this one.
And they've just got to keep the ball narrow side, Carlton. Keep it near that boundary line. Don't let it get back in the middle of the ground.
So much on the line, particularly if you're for Carlton fans who think that they might be a finals chance this year. North have lost 5 in a row. They don't want to experience it again. A minute remaining now. Setterfield. Every kick, mark and handball, scrounge forward is so crucial. McDonald, pants up, falling down. Right foot kick, high to 50, bodies everywhere. Wiedering held sway with a fist. 45 seconds now.
There's blokes going down everywhere. I don't know if they're exaggerating the contact or if the umpires have just put the whistle away. I suspect he might have been feigning for one there, Murphy, perhaps. Certainly bringing the crowd into the game. They feel like Carlton's getting a stiff run at the moment. A lot of Blues fans here at the Gabba.
Anderson on the move, and he draws a free kick.
You saw, look, what's more important here? Do you want to kick a point that gives you another opportunity close to goal?
Yep.
The double play Geordie goes for. They might get their chance for a score here. 24 seconds, dangerous little poke was okay from Nunes, and they get it out. So it's a throw in. Got to come up with something very special from here. 7 points with 20 seconds. It's got to be in an instant, obviously. Have Carlton done enough? They won't care how they get the 4 points right now. Goldstein reaches over the top. They win the stoppage, they win the day. The Blues find safety. They win another close one. They're about to win another close one. With 6 seconds to go. At least it didn't get under a goal, but just a few moments of uncertainty for them late. The siren sounds, an exhausting day in the wet at the Gabba. Congratulations all around on the Carlton bench. They win in game number 100 for Sam Doherty. Patrick Cripps continues to get plenty of attention. No wild celebrations, but valuable 4 points, John.
Yeah, no, you take the wins when you get them, and they're used to winning close, or being in close games. They've now won 3 out of 5 close games within a goal, and they had to tough it out. I mean, North Melbourne challenged. There's probably a moment in that last quarter when the 100-metre penalty was awarded that just sort of, it sucked the momentum out of North Melbourne at that point. Jack Martin only kicked a point, but it became an important point. And they had to fight their way through it. A lot of their star players were shut out of the game, so they had to do it a different way. Well done to Carlton. A win's a win. You don't necessarily care how you get them.